Alright, hello everybody, it is Cornholio, and I am riding into work on yet another absolutely beautiful day here in southern New Hampshire. And I'm going to make this little quick video because I made a video 2 years ago about counter steering, and I deleted the comments on it because I knew what would happen. It would butt hurt some people, most notably motorcycle safety riders, guys who have some track time, guys who are experienced and know what counter steering is all about. And I knew it would butt hurt those people, so I just deleted the comments. Well, guess what? They get on my other videos and start talking trash. Things like, you're an asshole, you're a moron, you don't know what you're talking about, you should delete that video because it's plain to see you have no clue what you're talking about. I heard it all. And there's one question that I always ask them, and that question is, did you watch the video all the way through to the end? And 100% of those people who made negative comments, and a lot of them I have deleted, they all said, no, I haven't watched it all the way through the end. I said, well, why don't you watch it all the way through to the end, and you will see what I'm talking about. And one guy, and I toyed around a couple times about making a different video, trying not to butt hurt people, and one of the guys said, hey, you should probably remake the video and put the good stuff up front. All right, so I said, that's a good idea. I've toyed around with it, and thank you for your feedback. So here is the video in response to that and quite a few others. Counter steering, what is it? It is the physics of gyro turning wheels and making them go in the direction you want them to go on a motorcycle. You want to take a motorcycle and make it go to the right. What do? You have to turn the motorcycle handlebars to the left. If I want to go right, I turn the motorcycle handlebars to the left and it goes that way. See there? See what I'm doing? If I want to go left, I have to turn the handlebars to the right. And that's how you turn a motorcycle when you're up at cruising speeds or speeds over walking distance, or speeds over walking speed. Now, of course, when you're standing still and you want to turn a motorcycle right, you have to turn the handlebars to the right. But if you are at a speed to where the bike can stand up on its own power and you want to change direction, you have to turn the steering handlebars in the opposite direction of which way you want to go. That's what counter steering is. That's how you turn a motorcycle. That's just it in a nutshell. And there's a whole bunch of other physics going on in there too, with gyroscopes and blah, 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 blah. I'm not going to get into all that, okay? I am certainly by no means an expert in anything, but I've been riding motorcycles for 48 years. And I've seen wrecks, I've seen people get jammed up, get tensed up, butt-tight moments, you know, and they lose their mind and they revert back to the training and most common sense things that they have done their entire life. And when a guy's all froze up and he needs to turn right, he's going to turn the handlebars to the right, because that's how we have all been taught and trained our entire lives on how to turn any vehicle. You want to go right, you turn it right. That's embedded in us, and we have to overcome that when you ride a motorcycle because of counter steering. And yet there is a 100% better way to teach it than by putting all of that stuff I just spoke about into the brains of a new rider. And I don't care how old a rider is. I don't care if he's 10 years old. I don't care if he's 10 years old or 50 years old. When you first start riding a motorcycle, you need some instruction. A lot of people just jump on them and take off, and they do pretty well. I rode for almost 15 years before I ever took a safety rider course, And I found that I was pulling the bike to the right. If I wanted to turn right, I would grab this left handlebar and I would pull it towards me, and it would make the bike go to the right. And I did the same if I wanted to turn left. I just was kind of pulling it. And that worked very well for me because I was in fact counter steering the motorcycle, and I did not know that. I had no clue. But the best way to teach counter steering, or I should say the best way to teach how to turn a motorcycle, is one simple rule. Put pressure on the grip in the direction you want to go. If I want to go left, let me put this thing on cruise, and you guys can see. I want to go left. I have no right handle. I just push on the left handlebar. You see what it does? I put a little pressure and push, and guess what? The bike will go to the left. I want to turn the bike right. I push on the right handlebar. Here's my left hand, not on the thing. I push right. Guess what it does? It goes to the right. Now, what am I doing, folks? I'm counter steering the motorcycle without all the mumbo jumbo and all of the physics and all of the stuff that will confuse new riders when they're in a crunch moment. If it saves one life, this video is worth its weight in gold. Don't teach them physics of counter steering. You can do that later. Teach new riders pressure on the handlebar. I want to go right, I press right. I want to go right, I press right, hard right. I want to go left, I press left, hard left. The harder you want to turn, the harder you press. You are counter steering. But that's a lot less confusing if you say you want to go right, pressure on the right. You want to go left, pressure on the left. The bike will go wherever you want it to go, and you're not confusing left to right and counter steering and turning it left and right and blah, 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 blah. You're telling them you want to go right, you press right. You go left, you press left. Everything on the same field. It is way less confusing. And just like riding a car, when you want to go right, you turn the steering wheel right. It's the same general idea. I want to go right, I got to go right. I want to go left, I got to do something left. That's the gist of my video. That's what I was talking about. And that's why I hate the word counter steering for new beginner riders. Teach them pressure on the handlebars. Once they get all that down and they got it, you want to go back and teach them the true physics of it. In fact, that they are in fact doing counter steering, then that's fine. But keep the new riders, keep it simple for them, folks. And that's what that video is about, and that's why I'm going to make this remake to it. I hate that word counter steering. I wish we would eliminate it. But, you know, for the people out there who want to know everything, they want to know what's going on, they want to know the physics behind it, okay, fine, it's counter steering. But let's learn how to ride the bike first without confusing us or confusing new riders. And folks, that was the gist of my video. That's what it's all about. Trying to make it easy and fun for guys to ride and ride properly and be able to control their motorcycle out there on the highway so that they don't wreck or they don't get scared and the butt's clenched up and they're thinking, okay, now what do I got to do again? And they just revert to turn the bike right and it leans to the left and they go into oncoming traffic, and we've seen videos of that. That's what I'm trying to avoid in future. So that's what the video was all about. And so now I've remade this. I'll put it up here pretty soon. And I hope I help one person have a better riding experience, because once you realize what you're doing and learn just by putting pressure on the handlebar, you can lay that bike down and you can hit the hardest corners you want to hit. And you can get rid of your chicken strips and you can do all that stuff by simple pressure on the corresponding handlebar grip. Okay, so as you can see, it's not really that I have a problem with the concept of counter steering and the physics behind it. That's something you can't get away from. That's just how you do it. That's how you turn a motorcycle. What I have a problem with is incorporating it into beginner motorcycle riders training. You are entering an area, older people, guess, let me back that up. You're entering an area where, how do people learn? Adults learn by repetition. That's just simple. We do things over and over and over. We learn. Kids soak up things. I mean, they soak up things immediately, younger kids. But as you get older, we teach adults by repetition. Going back to law enforcement officers, when they train to draw their weapon, do tactics and stuff like that, they train in quarter-second intervals. The farther you can put yourself away from a threat, the more time you give yourself to react to any situation, and they chop them up into quarter seconds, backing up, moving, things of that nature. Some officer, drew his gun and had to fire on a suspect, and they asked him, when did you draw your weapon? And he's like, I don't even remember drawing my weapon. It's automatic, it's certain scenarios, certain situations, boom, you do certain things, you're ready, all right? It's the same thing with learning to ride a motorcycle. When you're riding a motorcycle, certain things happen to you, you need to react quick. And in the training process, the thought process that you must go through when you're learning to get something to become motor memory, motor skills, muscle memory, you want to have as few steps in it as you can. And in teaching countersteering and teaching someone that when you're riding a motorcycle, if you want to turn to the right, you've got to do something to the left. It crosses a hemispheric plane in our brain, all right? Because our brains are split down the middle. The right side of the brain controls the left side of the body movements, vice versa. Left side controls right side body movements. We see this in CAT scans all the time, people who've had strokes. So when you come up and tell someone, hey, normally when you turn right in any other vehicle on the planet, you're going to turn something to the right. If you're going to turn left, you have to do something to the left, input to the left, input to the right to turn right. Those kind of things our brain can handle. We deal with that since birth, okay? That's just it. So to come up and tell a brand new rider, well, now if you're going to turn to the right, you've got to turn the handlebars to the left. You've crossed a plane there, and now they're having to do something that is counterintuitive to normal thought process. So instead of telling them you're going to have to do something opposite, why don't you tell them they're going to have to do something that's similar to everything they've ever learned on the same hemispheres. I want to turn right, right pressure, the bike will go to the right. I want to turn left, left pressure, the bike will go to the left. Teach them pressure on the handlebars, not counter steering. That's my gripe with it. As I've said many times before, you do turn a motorcycle by counter steering it. But my first safety class that I ever took was in 1990. I actually dug up my old card and found out, I thought it was earlier, but it was 1990. So I'd been riding a motorcycle about 19 years before I ever went to my first class, as I said in the video or in the ride. And my instructor, the first day, he was a very sharp individual. He asked us, because we had like 10 people in the class, a couple of guys had never ridden a bike before. He said, how do you turn a motorcycle? And everybody was like, he said, let's get some input out here. How do you think you turn a motorcycle? Well, of course, those guys who've ridden before didn't answer, and I didn't really want to answer because I'd never been taught how to turn a motorcycle. I just did it. Just one of those things you just do. The guy in the back goes, don't you have to throw your weight around and lean your body into it? He goes, well, to some degree, yeah. Anybody else? One goes, well, I've heard you've got to do something called counter. He goes, oh, stop. Stop right there. He said, I don't teach counter steering. I teach you how to ride the bike, how to control it, how to turn it, how to stop it, how to come over obstacles. I'm going to teach you all of that stuff, but I'm not going to teach counter steering. It's too confusing for new riders. He said, let's forget that. That'll be for another class way down the road. Today I'm going to teach you how to ride the bike. He said, if you want to turn the bike, you simply put pressure on the right handlebar to turn right. The bike will go to the right. If you got to make a hard turn, you put more pressure. If you got to make a light turn, you put light pressure. Same way to the left. He said, and that's beyond walking speed. That's when the bike is up at speeds enough to where the wheels will keep spinning, will keep the bike up on its own. Very smart guy. Now, the first thing come out of my mind was pressure on the handlebars. I never heard that. Been riding a bike almost 20 years, and I think I was kind of pulling it, to the left. I do recall at one time where if I wanted to turn left, I pulled up on the right handlebar. What was I doing? I was counter steering. I just never really give it that much thought. It's just something I did while I was out there riding. So when we got out there on the bikes, not the first day, but the second day, we had cones set up, and I was zipping through those cones like it wasn't nothing. I didn't have to lean my body and shift my weight. I just put pressure, and I could just
drop the bike down over here, and just, oh man, it blew my mind to take that simple phrase. You want to turn right, put pressure on the right handle grip. You want to turn left, put left pressure on the left handle grip. That simple. My ability to control that bike jumped from probably about 65 or 70% up to 100%, just like that. That quick. You put that instruction in with your mechanics of riding, and your knowledge level and skill level both rise to their highest. And he told everybody in there, he says, within about an hour out there on that bike, I'm going to have you controlling that thing like you've been riding it your whole life. And I thought he was joking, but he was dead correct. And he never mentioned the word countersteering. He never taught anyone that to do something this way, you got to do an opposite input. Because when you're out there riding, and we've seen the videos on YouTube, and you're twisting it through the curves and this and that, and all of a sudden you come out and there's a big 18-wheeler coming at you, and he's over in your lane, or he's crossed the double line, and the butt pucker factor goes to the roof. Oh, I got to get over to the right, and that's crunch time. You don't have time to think, what do I got to do? It should be instinctive by that time. And the guys will turn the handlebar to the right, and the bike stands up and goes to the left and crash. We've all seen it. There's videos of it out there. There's a couple of good videos of it out there. When the crap hits the fan, you will react and respond to your highest level of training or the lack thereof. And if you haven't had proper training, you will revert back to the most simplest things your brain can understand. If I want to go to the right, I got to turn to the right. So to incorporate that kind of thought process of countersteering and doing opposites to make the bike do what it's supposed to do, which it does in fact do that, it's the method of teaching that I have a problem with. Teach pressure on the handlebars. That's it. You don't even have to introduce the concept of countersteering. They don't even need to know that at that point. Now later on, a year later, they come back and you say, hey, you know how you turn your motorcycle while putting pressure on the handlebars? Yeah. You've been countersteering all this time. That's because when you put pressure on that right handlebar, you're microscopically turning the handlebars in the opposite direction. That's countersteering. You've been doing that this whole time. Oh, gee, well, that's great news, huh? Did you need that information? Nope. Now, you want to get into more serious riding and do some GP motor racing and stuff like that. You want to get into higher levels like that. You want to really get to the physics of it, then yeah, you can introduce countersteering, but not to a new rider. You don't want to have them adding extra steps into their mechanics and thought processes. Something's going to happen in a split second. They see that truck coming, they just need to know to press on that handlebar and go to the right. That's what I'm talking about. All right, I'm going to leave the video's comments open. You guys tell me what you think. Tell me if I'm still full of BS. Tell me if I'm dead on. Tell me what you think about it. All right. And anyway, thanks for watching. It's Cornelio out.